rural versus city living here in New Zealand. That is our topic for today. I know, right? You guys have been asking Juliet come up with a video about living in a city and living in a countryside here in New Zealand, so that we would know the cheaper city to move to. I know I took me this long to come up with this video actually because I want to really have the experience of both. As you guys know, I have lived in Christchurch for a couple of years before migrating to this scenic country side town, Hokitika, and Hockey for short. So I could basically say that I have got both experiences because I have been in hockey for just under a year now. So I'm confident to share that experience with you guys. I would be comparing Christchurch City and West Coast using hockey as a typical example. So if it is something of interest to you, stay glued to my channel. And also I would be tagging this video part one of such comparison, and I'll just do a overview general comparison in this video, and probably in the part two I would come up with cheaper, or would I say cheapest, rural towns you can live in New Zealand if you're migrating with your family. And before I come up with the second part of this video, please, for those of you who are already here in New Zealand, from your location, if you're living in a rural town, please use the comment section if you think it's the cheapest, or if you think your town should be rated among the cheap town to live in New Zealand. Please use the comment section. Let's share the knowledge so that people that are looking for a cheaper place to live in could explore. So just my regular introduction. I am Julia Chinelo, an African immigrant precisely from Nigeria that find herself here in New Zealand and pretty settling well with my family. So I blog about my life experience. I share them what living, working, studying here in New Zealand is all about. So you can use that information and make that informed decision if you would like it here or not. So the first thing I will be talking about is nature. You guys know overall New Zealand is like nature is all about nature, is reserved and beautiful landscapes and a whole lot of all that nature. So it's just normal that you would as well expect that the countryside would be more like scenic, more reserved, with a whole lot of beautiful scenes for you to see, of which is the same case here. I find hockey more like natural. When you wake up in the morning, you don't hear horns and noise from the streets, car moving, waking you up. Is more of bird sounds and sea dazzling sounds and a whole lot of that. So hockey is, would I say, more natural than big city like Christchurch if you are comparing. And the second point I would be comparing today is work. Just like you would be expecting, there are technically more work in the big city like Christchurch, and you know the population too is more over the, I think in hockey here the population is less than 4,000. Please use the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong. So what would I say? I would say, in as much as there is much more work in the city, in a typical city like Christchurch, I would also say that there are jobs in countryside like hockey, in the sense that the position that too many people will be applying or pursuing in Christchurch, that lesser people would be pursuing that position if it is situated in a typical countryside like Hokitika. So you are more likely to get fewer steps or position up if you are applying for job in hockey here. And also if you take that few steps ahead that you want to probably settle here, the tendency that your spouse or partner getting a job in that similar in the similar trade or field or industry that you work would be high, because employers here in hockey are after people that tend to stay, people that want to stay. Just like you would expect, people come to the countryside when they see opportunity in the city. Most of them migrate back to the city. So employers want to like train, manage people that they've seen that they really want to settle here. So if they see someone they employed and want to settle here, and probably the spouse is struggling with job, the tendency of such employer absorbing the spouse if there's an opportunity just to ensure that the other worker is settled is higher, and so that they don't keep recruiting all the time with people leaving to the big city. So having said that, you would understand what I mean. So there is work if you are patient to wait to be on the queue. When people leave, you fill it up. Then both spouses will be working and gradually raising their family here if they love it and don't want to stay back. So the third point actually I'll be comparing today is housing, rent, buying a house here in Hokitika compared to Christchurch. Relatively, I would say, just like you would expect, houses in Hokitika, if you want to buy, is like cheap. Yeah, if you compare it, even if you pop on the internet, you would say it's like one third or half of the prices you would be getting in Christchurch. But when it comes to renting, it's a bit tricky as there are fewer houses here for for renting purposes, because people tend to buy their own house or build when they know that they are going to settle here with their family. So if you're renting, it's either there is no house available for you to rent, and this depends on what season of the year it is and what is happening. You guys know I came here at the heat of COVID. So housing was a big deal. This studio 2-bedroom apartment that we are managing, we had about 40 applicants for it, and it was given to us. You could imagine what that would have done to hiking of the price of this house, because prior to then, as I had, a typical studio 2-bedroom flat like this one cost about $250 prior to the whole COVID stuff. But that's not what I'm getting. I think we are paying about, is it $350 here weekly. So but overall, houses and in hockey, whether you're renting or buying, it would be slightly lower than, if you're renting, it will be slightly lower than what you will get in big cities like Christchurch, though the features might not be the same thing quality wise. That's what I'm thinking from my own point of view. And also the fewer houses here, people developing building houses, is also making the price for renting go up unexpectedly and things like that. So the fourth point I would like to compare today is groceries. I know on my migration here, on my moving here from Christchurch, They said it's a farming area, and I was like, oh, that means groceries will be like 10% or 20% cheaper if I get to Hockey. I was like excited that if I arrive here in Hockey, I could probably afford my favorite fruits like strawberries and other berries that I could probably go straight off to the farm and buy them. But that wasn't the case. We have only one chain supermarket. Okay, there's Four Square. For those of you who know Four Square, it's just 2 steps away from my house. You guys know. Is an expensive kind of chain supermarket here. So the other popular one we have here is New World. So if you want to do countdown, you go to the near town, to the next town closer to us, about 40 minutes drive. That's where you can see New World. That's where you can see Countdown and probably Warehouse. So here the only supermarket that is, well, I say cheaper, it's not really the NZ, New Zealand cheapest supermarket is New World. So you don't have the likes of pack and save, and you don't have like Growers Direct where you can pop in and buy your fruits and vegetables straight off from growers, like we used to have in Christchurch. Growers Direct, farmers markets. I have not seen such place here that I could buy my veggies and fruits cheap compared to Christchurch. And also I noticed that most of the fruits and vegetables here are not as fresh as I used to get in Christchurch, maybe because of the distance they have to travel before getting to us, the consumers. So relatively, permit me to say, I find grocery shopping more expensive here in the West Coast compared to Christchurch. This is actually my humble experience. Yours could be different because maybe you know how to navigate around it more than myself. So the fifth point I would like to talk about is for petrol. For reasons I do not know, petrol filling stations are fewer here, just like you would expect. But what I can't figure my around or wrap my head around is why petrol is few cents more expensive than it is in Christchurch. Yeah, but having said that, this is a compound town that within 5-7 minutes you run around the city. Like you if your work is very close, your kindergarten is closed, everywhere is closed. So the petrol is cheaper and it lasts longer because you don't travel a reasonable distance and burn your petrol. So that would compensate for that, if you ask me. And the last point I'll be discussing today, that's the sixth point for today, is resources. Hockey ticker. West Coast generally, we are far from resources. Like there's no university if you are looking like you want to study or that sort of thing, or you want to do a course here and there. There's no uni here in the West Coast. Most resources are far away from us. I can't say that we have compact, good, functional medical center, health center here. But and if you need like expert attention or things like that, you go to the next town that is about 40 minutes away from here. There's a hospital here. There, I think that's where I put to bed, and that's where you do that sort of thing. And if there is further complications, you get flown to Christchurch. So, apart from this kind of we are also resources. We are also far from other resources. Like there are things that like immigration stuff. You guys know when I did it, I had to travel all the way to Christchurch, and a few other resources that you cannot really access here, that you have to go to the nearest big city like Christchurch to do. So these are my first point and first part of comparison between a typical rural Christchurch city and a big city. In my second comparison, I would come up with list of at least five cheapest countryside town than that you can migrate if you are coming in with your family and all you want to do is just to settle down and work. Okay, let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm looking forward to your beautiful comments, questions, and a whole lot of that. And as I have always been, I'll pop onto the comment section and interact just like I've always done. And in the next video that will be coming up after this one will be about the green list occupations. Stay tuned to that. I know most of you be saying, Juliet, green list occupations, we're waiting for you. Yes, I'm going to put that out a couple of days after this video. And many thanks to all of you, my dear returning subscribers, and I owe it to you guys. Thanks for your support.